welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I've finally got my mk1 in the background for all of you guys to see. I started this Golf off as a stock 1.4 tenaciti that I bought from a friend of mine. It was 100% stock standard, it had never been modified, so I took on the task of changing it up to make a cool street sleeper. This Golf off as a stock 1.4 tenaciti that I bought from a friend of mine. It was 100% stock standard, it had never been modified, so I took on the task of changing it up to make a cool street sleeper. So basically what I did was I had a 2-litre 16 valve engine laying in my shop for the last 3 or 4 years from a previous race car that I had, and I thought, well, what's better than an mk1 for a build for my shop? So basically I didn't build this for any one specific reason. It was more to get that feeling back, that young at heart feeling, you know what you used to have when you had your first car and you were so proud of it. You know, at the end of the day, new cars are super expensive to modify, and this was just something that was cost effective and it didn't take that much effort. So what I basically did, I got this Golf 1 in, stripped down the wheels and suspension. We fitted in Golf 1 front and rear stabilizer bars, as well as doing a VR6 brake upgrade in front, and we fitted a complete Golf 2 GTR rear disc brake setup. This car did have the bottom strut brace from the factory. All we did was we fitted a top strut brace that also came from our race car, and then the rest is pretty much standard. The engine is a 2-litre 9A 16 valve that the head was done by Fundalinde Developments probably 2000, 2001, and back then this car made about 125 kilowatts on the wheels. So it was about a 150 kilowatt engine 20 years ago. So basically all I've done is I sent the head back to Fundalinde for a refresh. They basically just reprofiled the cams to make sure it's all within spec, put new valves in it, and then I took the bottom end apart and basically just did a 20 thou rebore and put standard original KS pistons back with all standard bearings, no modifications, no lightening, no knife edging. The bottom end is pretty much completely stock standard. The gearbox I'm using is still the standard 5-speed FFZ that came out with the car, and I'm using a full weight flywheel with a blueprint clutch that I got from Goldwagen. So far everything seems to be holding up okay. It's holding the power, it's not slipping, but unfortunately this car has shown me it has a very big traction problem. As you can see from my previous videos, I did a bit of a burnout and it only does a one wheel burnout. The other wheel literally doesn't even spin. So in the future, the gearbox has definitely got some way to go to be modified in order to get more traction so I can put the power down to the road. The management system I'm using is a Dictator standard, and I'm using the standard fuel pump with a 4-bar Polo fuel filter. I use the fuel filter from the Polo because it fits nicely in front and I only need to have one pipe going to the rail. So I've got a constant 4-bar pressure, and we use a set of original VR6 injectors. I think they stand at about 380 cc, so they're well enough specs in order to supply enough fuel for this high revving engine. It is a hydraulic lifter head, so it can't really rev much past 8,000, otherwise it's going to start to get valve bounce. The springs that I've got in the head are the standard 16 valve dual spring setup, and the cams are cut from standard 2-litre 9A cams. Basically the head has had 5-angle valves done, a professional gas flow and porting, but the intake manifold, throttle body, everything else is still stock standard. I basically built this car so that I would have something that we can take to events, something that has got such a big following as mk1. You can rock up at any car show with the mk1 and somebody will notice you. Especially with this car, it has a very rough idle. That's because the head has actually got almost rally spec cams, so it idles roughly at like 1,200 RPM. I basically want to be able to jump into this car and drive it wherever. It's not built, it doesn't run on racing fuel, it doesn't have any sort of special mix that it uses. It's running 100% on pump fuel with a pump fuel map, and I don't really have any plans for the future to raise the compression or do any other engine modifications. I think the next logical step here would definitely be some drivetrain upgrades with regards to tires and to put a limited slip diff into the gearbox. Basically so far I've had a couple of dices with the car. I've been beaten horribly most of the time, but I'm always taking on much faster cars. So when I put it up against a 2-litre 8 valve with gas flow hidden cams, it's just a little bit ahead because obviously I can rev it higher. All the guys that I used to meet up with at the dices, all those guys are now married, have kids, and all have family commitments. So it's very hard for us guys to get out anymore, have a few races, and just be amongst friends. So I basically built this car so that we can have some car events, so we can get our families involved, get the wife and kids in the car, and have things where everyone can come, where it's not something we're sitting until 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, sometimes till 1, 2 in the morning, where you end up having one race and most of the time there's squabbling and infighting. Basically, costings wise on this car, the car cost me about 40 grand. Thank you to my cousin who I bought it from. She gave me a very good price for, it's a 2009 Tenacity. It's only got 90,000 Ks on the clock, and she is the one and only owner. So I'm only the second owner of this car. So basically the car was 40. The engine, I already had it, but I did spend about 8,000 at Van der Linde just refreshing the head. If you had to build a motor like this, the motor's now about 20,000, And to do the head job this car's got, you're probably looking at 15 to 20,000 alone. The rest of the stuff, I was fortunate enough that I sold all my stuff to a friend of mine that he put into his Golf 1. So basically I bought all my stuff back from him, or well, he sort of swapped it back with me. I took all the stuff of this car and put it onto his car to make it sort of standard again. So I got the brakes in front, the rear brakes, the sway bars, the upper strut brace, all from another car. So the total cost so far out of my pocket is probably about 90,000 that it's cost me, excluding the motor. So when you guys ask me if it's for sale, yes it is for sale, but it's gonna be a 6-digit number in front of it. So you try build one for under 100k and you'll quickly see that the cost of the parts is a lot more than what you expect. I was fortunate that I have my good friend Jacques from Goldbach in Port Shepstone. He gave me extremely good prices on all the spares that we fitted, and he gave me a lot of support. You know, we ordered a lot of stuff in specially. I did do the Delaray Racing Developments lower mounting. That thing is a poly mount with a laser cut bracket, so it actually replaces the whole bottom mounting setup, and it actually deletes the front mounting. So this car, it does vibrate a bit because of that mounting, but let me tell you, there is no movement on this engine. I know it's a very common thing on modified Golfs that they always break the bottom mounting and they break the front mounting. This car will not have that problem ever. I've checked the mounting after I've been driving it and it's still perfect, not even a slight amount of movement on it. So I would definitely recommend that as an upgrade for anyone who wants to put a little bit of power into their Mark 1. Okay guys, thanks so much for watching this episode of my MK1 build. We'll still get some more driving shots because this car is still going to be driven a whole lot. So if you like this video, please subscribe, share it with your friends, and if you've got an awesome car you'd like me to feature, hit me up on my Facebook, Mark Redline Mechanic, and we can come to you and feature your car and make an awesome video for the channel. So thanks so much for watching. Until next time, Mark out. Mark out. Yeah. Yeah, I came out okay this car. This thing is so lucky. I just want to show you guys what it actually sounds like.